Hello, Mr. Hammond.
Hello, Mr. Parker.
Welcome to XNN. We are very curious to listen to your surviving story of African American discrimination during World War II.
Thank you very much. World War II has changed my life. In fact, I will tell you my experience right now. Somewhere around 1941, when the war started, I escaped my orphanage to get a job, so I searched for a place. Many shops and restaurants did not employ me because of my race. Suddenly, many black volunteered to fight for the US. So, I decided to follow the volunteers to the train. But then, the white guards pushed all of us blacks off, spitting at our faces, shouting, "You men are not even worth it to fight for us. Go clean a kitchen or something."
Oh, dear. I agree that the white Americans were unfair to the blacks. They sure discriminated them. Please keep going.
So, I was very discriminated, and I was lucky to be employed as a kitchen cleaner at a bar, as I needed money to survive. The N-word was used every time by my boss and my colleagues, although a few were blacks. But all of a sudden, I heard that the US government was going to allow the black volunteers to fight in combat during World War II. This really shocked me.
Yes, I understand. I remember that day when President Truman was pressured by the African American protests, and he announced to experiment the African Americans to fight in combat for the United States.
Continuing on, I quickly skipped work at the bar and walked in between the crowds onto the train, and finally I was to fight for United States of America in combat. Once we reached there, I was given a rifle and a uniform. At this point, I felt much better with less discrimination, but felt nervous about death. But I fought, and we, African Americans, were successful and killed to win a battle on land against the Japanese. It sure was bloody and terrifying. Now, I feel terrible for shooting down many foe, but I had no choice that time. With that battle won, we were looked higher. We were praised, and a few of our men were given medals for courage. To me, it felt like the discrimination was over, but it wasn't. After the war, not one black soldier that I knew of received the military's highest award, which I heard was a symbol for sacrifice and courage. I just didn't understand this. But still, I felt happier to have survived the war, and today, all blacks are treated equally. Of course, after the war was over, there was the civil rights movement, and surely that was tough for me. I returned to the orphanage, and until after the civil rights movement's success, I studied at the orphanage to have found a new job for my future. And finally, here I am in a public interview show.
Yes, I am very glad that African Americans fought against racism and discrimination to be successful. Oh yes, I have a question. How did it feel to be discriminated during the war?
Yes, it felt very bad. It felt like the whites were treating me like a low-life animal. I was not allowed to visit bars during the war. The door read, "Whites only," which made us blacks feel extremely discriminated just because of our race. It was surely unfair and cruel of them, but now that is over, so we, blacks, can roam freely around. Although, there are racists out there who still tend to discriminate us. But I will ignore them.
Mr. Hammond, thank you very much for coming here and sharing your important moments of your life. I'm glad all African Americans are treated equal today. Wonderful story. Thank you, sir. Please do come next week, as we are having another special guest who survived the World War II and discrimination, Mr. Ed Brantley. This is XNN. We'll see you soon.